everyone, Bernard here. I hope you're all staying safe and well, and welcome to my film and TV channel. We have a big blockbuster today. It's nice to have a blockbuster film, isn't it? You know what it is by the thumbnail, you know what it is by the total film front cover there in the background. Yeah, we're going to have a look at Godzilla versus Kong today, so please join me. Have a look at a bit of information on it, look at the reviews, the critics' reviews, my own personal views on this film as well, so please join me for that. Please, if you're new to this channel, push that subscribe button, push the bell notification, enjoy what we do. I try and inform and entertain if I can. If I can add anything that's worth note, I will do to these films. And please, obviously, you will see so loads of stuff on films. There's TV drama reviews, film reviews, information vlogs, what's coming out to buy, what's on at the cinema. Yeah, May the 17th, I think we're talking about the cinemas reopening here in the UK. So I'll be doing some cinema release vlogs as well. So please join me, push that notification so you know when these things are coming out. And you will see on the playlist some stuff on my football team as well. If that's of any interest, if it's not, don't worry, there's loads of film and TV stuff. But I do things on my club, Manchester City. I do city history, city present, city quizzes, lots of different things, loads of different things on there. So please, if you know anyone who might be interested, please point me in my direction. I'll be very grateful as well. But anyway, it's a film and TV we're looking at today. If you need any followers on Facebook and Twitter, there's a couple of links on screen there, so just follow and friend me. I do check every 3 or 4 days and follow and friend everyone back on there. And I post loads of stuff on movies and TV and, of course, my football team, City, on Facebook and Twitter as well. So please check that out. And also, all your comments are welcome. If you watch this, if a lot of people have already watched this, if you're planning on watching it or you're quite excited by it, just let me know. Let me know your comments, and then when you have watched it, get back on and tell me what you thought. Anyway, share that with me. If you've no time to leave us a comment today, just give us a thumbs up. It's nice to get views, but it's lovely to get thumbs up. I'm only trying to get about between 10 and 20 on these film and TV channel reviews. I do get a few more on the football ones, but if you can just give us a thumbs up, that's great. It's just nice to see. It's nice to get views, but it's nice to know that people are actually watching and get the thumbs up. Right, let's have a look at this. 1 hour and 53 minutes. I think the runtime's slightly less. I mean, which isn't too bad. I was a bit worried this could have been well over 2 hours, which is great. We've got loads of content in it, but yeah, it's always so on the face of it about 1 hour and 48, hour and 45, 48, so that's not too bad. Of course, it's a science fiction adventure classed as a 12A, so yeah, I think PG might have been pushing it a little bit, but yeah, there's nothing too scary in this. It's quite good action, certainly for people under 12. I would have thought, yeah, I would have thought it's still very, very watchable. Perhaps you might get a little bit lost, obviously, as you will do with the human content and the story behind it all. But yeah, as far as the action, animation, etc. is concerned, I think they'll really love it. Of course, it's a monster film, a creature feature, whatever you want to call it. I mean, creature features usually just big crocodiles and stuff, aren't they? These are real monsters, aren't they? These are titans, aren't they? Let's be honest about it. Directed by Adam Wingard, and a sequel to both Godzilla, King of the Monsters. Not my favourite, that one, to be honest with you, but we'll talk on that a little bit more when we look forward. We look back at this film. And Kong Skull Island, yeah, which I did quite like. I preferred Kong Skull Island, of course, to King of the Monsters. I didn't really like King of the Monsters, and I think that came out just before I started doing these vlogs, so I've nothing to go back on. But I do remember being a bit disappointed. This is 36. Yeah, it's a 36th film in the Godzilla franchise. Someone says, I'm hoping that's right. It's certainly a lot. 12, and it's the 12th film in the King Kong franchise. So it's the 12th in King Kong, and the 4th. It's the 4th, number 4, the 4th Godzilla film to be completely produced by a Hollywood studio. There you go. So poor Japanese are struggling, aren't we? Amongst the stars in this, we've got Alexander Skarsgård, Millie Bobby Brown, Rebecca Hall, Brian Tyree Henry, Shun Oguri, Eiza Gonzalez, Julian Dennison, Kyle Chandler, and Damien Bashir. So there you go. But none of them really impressed me in this, I'll tell you that now. I'm not overly excited about the scripts that were given to act out, etc. So no one's going to stick in my memory from this film, that's for sure. Principal photography began in November 2018, so way back in Hawaii, Australia, and Hong Kong, and wrapped in April 2019. Of course, it's been delayed, as many films have been delayed, from a November 2020 release, which was due out, but obviously the COVID sort of put an end to that. It was released internationally on March the 24th. There you go. Certainly not here in the UK. We're not open yet, but March the 24th, 2021, in areas where they could open the cinemas. And in the United States, it's been released as I'm recording this today on March the 31st. This is when I'm recording this, and will be simultaneously, there's a good word, in theatres and on HBO Max. There you go. We have some figures for that, but there's probably, by the time I'm doing this, they're out of date, so I won't bother with that. Yeah, of course, it's the next chapter in the cinematic monsterverse. Pits two of the greatest icons in motion picture history against one another. Well, there's the odd interloper as well. The fearsome Godzilla and the mighty Kong, with humanity caught in the balance. Trailer watch, yeah, I watched the trailer. Actually, I only just watched the trailer. I watched the trailer after the film, which you know me, I tend to do these days. I don't want to watch the trailer too much, but I did watch the trailer about half an hour ago as I'm doing this. Absolutely brilliant trailer, fantastic trailer. Really whets your appetite for the film. I'm quite glad I didn't watch the trailer first, to be honest with you, but more on that later. So, fantastic trailer. If I'm going to mark the trailer, I would give the trailer, as I say, nothing gets 10 out of 10 in my world, but I'll give it a good, steady, rock hard 9 out of 10. Fantastic trailer, worth the watch. It certainly does whet your appetite. But is it any good? What about the film? What about the film itself? Yeah, well, Rotten Tomatoes, as I'm recording this, reports that 80% of their 156 critics liked it. They give it a positive review, and it gets an overall average rating of only just 6.5 out of 10. So although they like it, they're not getting over too much over the top on it. And that's 125 fresh and 31 rotten reviews. The website's consensus, where they sort of bang their heads together and come up with a statement, delivering squarely on its title, Godzilla vs. Kong swats away character development and human drama. It does. To deliver all the spectacle you'd expect from giant monsters slugging it out. Yeah, far better than that other rubbish they put out a couple of years ago, King of the Monsters, whatever it was. Far, even though that was slugging it out, this is sort of took up to another level. So yeah, Rotten Tomatoes like it. Metacritic, the other site we look at, a weighted average of 62 out of 100. So again, 6.2 out of 10. Not far out, I suppose, to Rotten Tomatoes, and that's based on 43 critics on their site. And of those 43 critics, 26 give it a positive, 15 give it a mixed, and 2 give it a negative. So, as I say, we're getting some Rotten Tomatoes, and we're getting some negatives on Metacritic, and it scores anywhere between 4 to 7.5 out of 10. So if you look at the 4 out of 10, and interestingly enough, one of my magazines I buy on a regular basis, Empire, John Nugent, he didn't think much of it. He gave it 4 out of 10. And he wrote, Godzilla vs. Kong mostly delivers on its promise of a big monster fighting another big monster. It does. It just depends whether you're willing to sit through the toe-curlingly bad setup that surrounds it. Yeah, I do agree with parts of that. Entertainment Weekly's Leah Greenblatt gave it 5.8 out of 10, so just a little bit below that watchable figure of 6 out of 10. If you want a great monster movie that's actually also about people, how they think and talk and feel when they're more than just screaming kaiju chum in the water, try 2017's Colossal. I've not seen that one. Currently streaming on Hulu. I might have to seek it out. If not, maybe Godzilla vs. Kong's brawling lizard brain shock and awe is exactly the void you came for. So, yeah, not over complimentary from Leah there. Slash Films Chris Evangelista, yeah, I think that's how I pronounce it, 6.5 out of 10, so he's more with the average of what the score's coming out at. He wrote, Godzilla vs. Kong is a film without pretensions. It knows exactly what it wants to do, and what it wants to do is have monsters smash buildings while they're throwing punches at each other. It cost a fortune to rebuild all those buildings. It's finally what this franchise has been building towards, a movie about monsters, not humans. Perhaps we could have combined the two a little bit better. Chicago Sun-Times Richard Rupert, he's not going to complain. He's given it 7.5 out of 10. Well, he might. It's not a perfect score, is it? Godzilla vs. Kong is the kind of movie you can pretty much forget about almost instantly after you've seen it. Absolutely. Although I might want to watch some of the fight scenes again. But it's also the kind of movie that makes you forget about everything else in your life while you're watching it. Yeah, it did a little bit, not too much. Internet Movie Database, there we go. Joe Public, you, me, everybody else. We've had 14,529 scores and reviews left as I'm recording this, and it's getting an average of 7.4 out of 10. So that's not bad. That's a good score for Internet Movie Database. That puts it up there, and based on that number of reviews, I don't think that score is going to change much over the coming weeks and months. So just have a look at Internet Movie Database, the good, the bad and the meh. The good, the main event of the Monsterverse as Rainbow Beanie on the 31st of March 2021. Yo, Godzilla vs Kong was badass. Spoiler free, the fights are amazing, the visuals are fantastic and the humans are... The fights are fantastic. Definitely loved it. I think there's a trend, isn't there? Definitely loved it. The bigger screen, the better for sure. People that see an IMAX might crap themselves. They probably will. There are like 15 humans and only 5 of them are relevant. Well, I've probably 1 or 2, to be honest with you. Come and stay for the fights. They are so good. There you go. That's the good. But I think we get a little trend about the human side of this, don't we, in that little review. The bad. Cut the human drama already. 4 out of 10. Edgy Calgero on the 30th of March 2021. They just don't learn. With every entry on the Godzilla verse, they just put more and more emphasis into things. One, great, more battles and visual spectacle, but one that destroys my enjoyment with more human drama, and it's bad drama. It's bad melodrama, and it's not funny if that's what they're going for with one of the subplots. Probably wasn't funny. In the end, they have a good and simple story here to justify the action, and then they kept adding some extra human stuff and made this movie really annoying and boring. Yeah, I mean, it might have been me wrote this, actually. Well, not quite as bad. Amazing CGI and battles, but boring. Yeah. Boring, yeah, well, more on that in a moment. And the meh, that's gotta hurt one's profile. Wrote this on the 31st of March 2021. Definitely for early teens only, but I think a lot of the verbal diarrhea and the human part of it just won't appeal to teens. Just struggle for adults, never mind teens. Apart from the special effects, this film fails in pretty much every other area. The characters consist of the usual bunch of cliches and the dialogue is puerile at best. I know the film is about giant creatures, but the plot is full of implausible happenings and nonsensical situations. To be honest, I felt like I was watching a 1980s Disney film with better effects. I don't walk out on movies because they might get better. This one didn't. The 5 is for the CGI. Without that, it would get far less. The Earth has a molten core, just saying. By the way, the Earth has a molten core, just saying, not a hollow Earth concept, which is obviously touched upon in this film. So there you go. I think throughout that, I think you've seen the trends, and I'm gonna reiterate that and my little thoughts on this film. As I said, I wasn't a big fan of King of the Monsters. I'm not a big fan of action films generally, but I don't mind a good... I mean, obviously things like Mortal Kombat are coming out soon, so I sort of with trepidation I'll watch that, because I say, if it's all fights, I do get a little bit bored, but this is monsters fighting, so it's not a total disaster, but hey, it is what it is. But I did, as I said, I'm not a big fan of King of the Monsters, and I did approach this with a little bit of trepidation. This is a bit better. I'm not going to say I wouldn't... If I had to rate King of the Monsters, I'd probably give it a 5, to be honest with you. But this is a bit better, but I still left a little bit disappointed. I would have been more disappointed if I'd have watched the trailer first, to be honest with you. The fight action scenes are excellent, at times extraordinary, of course they are. Although I'm not sure quite, I've lost something in translation here. I'm not quite sure why Godzilla doesn't finish off his opponents, namely Kong, and kill the bugger, rip his head off or something. Because, but then again, he's not really that bad, is he? From memory, I don't know. I get all confused with these monster films, and I'm not sure if he's a he or a she anymore. Anyway, so yeah, that's the only quibble I have with Godzilla. I do love Godzilla. I like the older film back in the 2000s, the Godzilla film. I did enjoy that actually, perhaps more than the recent ones. But hey, there you go. A lot of people didn't, but I did. Yeah, so, but as I said, he's not going to rip Kong's head off, because he's not really a bad guy, is he? I don't think, overall. Or she's not really a bad girl, or whatever. I have no idea. As I said, I've lost the plot on that one. One previous criticism I think of the last film, certainly King of the Monsters, was they were quite dark, some of the scenes, as though they were trying to hide some bad animation, which I don't think they were. I think it was just the settings, etc. If you've got to have something at night, it can't be light, can it, and stuff like that. But they do claim, I think the producers and the guys who put this together do claim to have taken that into account. But there are still some scenes that are a little bit dark, but thankfully they seem to have sort of almost sorted out that little critique from the last one or two of these things. Of course, this is a giant screen. This is an IMAX film, isn't it, really? But yeah, it is watchable. I'm not bothered. I can watch on a cigarette packet screen. It doesn't really bother me that much. But yeah, I mean, for the full effects and the sound, etc. Of course, you want the big screen feeling for this, but it's not a total disaster. So that's all good on a smaller screen. Even a small 50-inch TV screen, whatever you've got. I mean, I've probably got 34. I can't remember what mine is now. It's not very big anyway. It's about 30, 40. I'm not too sure. Yeah, this is a film about monsters. It's not about humans. It's not about chemistry between humans particularly. It's not about humans getting on. But it is very hard to fill an hour and 54 minutes with just the monsters. So it does need to contain a decent story, doesn't it? But with semi-interesting characters, perhaps. You don't have to be fantastic. A little bit funny. I mean, you expect the quirky characters, etc., etc. You expect the bad guys, etc. But sadly, 2 or 3 of the human characters have potential, but the most of them are just really fluff. They're just not really necessary. The actual potential of the stories, etc., appear a little bit unfulfilled, and the comedic elements, as I said, don't really work at any time. And you need that in this sort of monster movie. You need a bit of light entertainment as well as the fights. Kong, of course, is always will remain. Even though I prefer the old original King Kong. I don't think this guy looks very friendly. I don't like the look of him. And I'll be honest with you, I don't like the look of him. As simple as he's a lot bigger now, because apparently he was growing up, wasn't he, when we last saw him? So that excuses the size of him now. Obviously, he's a lot bigger than he used to be, and he does have a lovely little relationship with the little deaf girl. Obviously, one of the tribes that were left, was it, from the island. And that's okay. It's all done through sign language and subtitles, which again is okay. You have to watch it. But yeah, I mean, rest of the human characters are not given enough flesh on the bones to actually be that interesting. And as I say, even this poor little deaf girl, it's just, by the way, it's even the sentimental scenes didn't quite resonate with me, unfortunately. Perhaps there's too many characters thrown at it. There's probably about 10 or 15 characters. It did have about 5 or 6 main characters in this, as well as Kong and Godzilla and a couple of other bloody monsters. Perhaps it would have helped, to be honest with you, if they just had a few characters less. But the backstory, because the backstory is quite uncomplicated, but they seem to complicate it. I mean, it could have been a lot easier. They sort of seem to go out of the way to make it harder to understand and more confusing. And it doesn't need to be that. Say the stories, the story's there, the gist of the stories there. You can go on Wikipedia and read the sort of plot, and it makes a sort of bit of sense. But they're trying to be clever, I think, on the film itself, and try and make it more complicated than it is. This is a fantasy action adventure film. It doesn't have to be too deep. Just get basic story, good characters, and it all works. Unfortunately, they sort of missed the boat on this one. Missed the boat. Yeah, probably got sunk by Godzilla or whatever. Yeah, I mean, it's a shame. So we're left, really, in my opinion, with just the monsters and the battles, which on their own are pretty amazing. But sadly, that's all. The actual story to it all, the human story, the story behind what's happening, etc., is all a bit weak. So unfortunately, you know me, I'm not a big action film fan. I love the fight scenes in this. It's fantastic. If it just had a bit of a better story, a bit of a better characters, it would have been a really, really good film. But as I said, I watched the trailer. I give the trailer that high mark of 9 out of 10. Well, I'm afraid I'm just going to give the film, I'm not going to even give it 7. I'm just going to give it the watchable rating, because I was just so frustrated by the lack of real story that sort of came together to help this along. I didn't expect much. I didn't want much, but I didn't really get anything, unfortunately. But I do love the fight scenes. So yeah, I'm just going to give it a 6 out of 10 as far as my score's concerned. Let me know what you think. Anyway, as I say, I'm being a bit unfair there. I mean, if it was a big action fan film, I probably would have given it 7, 8 out of 10 or something like that. But I'm not. I like to see a good story with it as well, and it's sort of let down on that basis. And it's such a shame because a little bit of tweaking, it probably could have been a good story. So anyway, 6 out of 10. The poster as well, you can't go far wrong. I mean, there's one main poster I've shown on the images there on the screen. You can't really go far wrong with the posters of Godzilla and Godzilla and King Kong, can you? So I'm going to give the poster 8 out of 10. I'm sure any poster they produce to promote this is going to be a great poster. So I think the posters deserve 8 out of 10. So we're talking trailer 9 out of 10. The film rating, sadly, just a basic watchable 6 out of 10 for me. So yeah, watch it. You know, a lot of people will enjoy it more than I do. Put it this way. So yeah, just watch it. You should enjoy it. I don't think anyone will be overly disappointed. Well, people are disappointed, but you know what I mean anyway. And the poster 8 out of 10. Anyway, let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. Whatever you're going to do this day, have a great one. Look after yourselves, look after your friends, look after your families. More importantly, let's all look after each other. To meet here again on the Film and TV channel, or perhaps you'll flit across, have a look at my Citizen channel, my football channel. All I ever ask of you is please stay safe, everyone. Thanks for watching. See you all later. Bye-bye.